It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. Two guests today, Brady Smith and George Josens from the Coconino National Forest are here. I actually bumped into Brady getting my hair cut, believe it or not. And I said, Brady, I need a guest for next Thursday. And here they are. Thank you so much for coming in.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, George is our new guy.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to find out a little bit about George before we get Brady involved at all.
Okay.
So, George, you've been around since, I think before the show you said April, May you moved to the
Got
area.
here in April.
Okay. So tell me about yourself.
Yeah, I moved here from Los Angeles. I was so happy to get out of there. I did work for the Army Corps of Engineers, which was a good experience. And prior to that, Department of Defense active duty Air Force retiree. And been doing public affairs now since '97, so been doing it for quite a while.
Oh, so this is not a new job for you then?
No,
Okay.
Not the public affairs part.
So what else did you do for public affairs? Who did you work for? With
Well, I was active duty public affairs. I was worked at Luke Air Force Base, my first public affairs assignment.
Okay.
Right down the road, and went on to Enid, Oklahoma, to Vance Air Force Base, and then was selected, luckily, to be part of the Thunderbird Air Force demonstration team as the public affairs superintendent.
Brady was telling me that about the Thunderbirds. What was that like?
That was fun.
Yeah.
Did a lot of work. Go and show the American public, the United States Air Force, and the Red, White, and Blue Jets, show them what the capabilities are, and try to help out a little bit with the Department of Defense recruiting.
So was that like a lot of on-the-ground kind of one-on-one with people when the show was going on? I mean, you must have traveled across the entire country then.
Been across the country and Canada and all of the Pacific with the Thunderbirds. And a lot of it was just talking to people, a lot of media interviews. Getting our officers prepared to talk to the media was the largest part of our job.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's crazy. All right, so you've been doing this for a long time then.
A couple years.
Yeah, 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. Okay. Okay, and then Brady, you're retired Air Force.
I am.
Okay, and then Brady, I remember George steps in for Brienne McGee. Brienne was I'm going to say your sidekick, your deputy.
Yeah.
Okay, so and people know Brienne McGee, and Brienne left, and she's now she's like the spokesperson for the Forest Restoration Initiative.
Correct.
Which is a long breath of wind, though at the forefry. So she left, and then George came in, and George has been great.
Yep.
So tell me the hiring process, because George, the government will look towards our veterans in getting them to jobs. So tell me how that works out.
Yeah, in the federal government, we have something called veterans preference. And so what happens is anytime we get a list of applicants, the veterans will float to the top of that. And so we look at those and consider the veterans first when we're going through the hiring process. And if veterans on that list have moved on, gotten another job, or are no longer interested, then we move to other names on the list. But that's where veterans preference comes in, and that's one of the reasons that we looked hard at George, because he had a lot of experience in public affairs. Obviously, being on the Thunderbirds team, you're going to get a lot of exposure to media, interviews, people, places, things. I mean, so it runs the gamut, and so we knew he had a lot of experience. So,
I would say, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, he's TV, radio, print.
And you got to know those
face
things
to face
when you're coming in public affairs. Especially with the Forest Service, with our fire program, you can pretty much take public affairs anywhere with any organization. The same principles will apply. You have to know how to deal with the media. You have to know how to work with them, what their needs are. You have to know Associated Press style book when you're putting together news releases. So the same principles will apply no matter where you go to work. So that's one of the things that I was looking for is, has this person really been through the ringer and really know what they're talking about? Because they're going to have to know that, especially when they're talking about wildfires on the forest. So
yeah, I guess we had kind of an easy year last year. Not a whole lot of big wildfires last year. Most of it was the kind of controlled burns and things like that. So
yeah, a lot of smoke impact concerns.
Broke you in easy last year, George, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still felt like I was drinking from the fire hose.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? So what are you doing to kind of familiarize yourself with the Coconino National Forest? Because, I mean, that's your baby now. You've got to know the ins and outs of her.
first thing was learning how the Forest Service structure worked and how the different districts all apply to the supervisor's office, and then just figuring out the structure of it was the fire hose part of it. So got that done, and then started helping everybody with their individual projects. And we were talking about the veterans being hired and having preference. We actually have a Veterans in Wildfire program going on right now where they're direct hiring people that apply for out of the military straight into firefighting.
Oh, well, Brady and I think we talked about that. We did a story on that recently. So how is that working out?
It's in full swing. So if there's veterans out there that want to get into Forest Service as a firefighter, go to our website at Coconino or nationalforest.us, and links are right there.
Okay, all righty. And then is there like a deadline for veterans to sign up for this? And
Yeah,
There's different deadlines.
Okay.
They have hiring phases. We're in the kind of closing end of it right now. But every year, essentially, we go through a seasonal hiring process, especially because we have our seasonal firefighters that come on board, and then they are let off board for the season when there is no fires, and then there's another rehiring process. So it's an annual thing that we go through all the time.
Okay, so these veteran firefighters, are these guys and gals working, say, this time of year? Or is it wildfire season? Or
They typically, the seasonal workers aren't,
Okay.
but we're ginning up for the fire season coming up. And so
Okay.
that's what we're looking at now and going through the hiring process now, because we're having to prepare for the wildfire season coming up.
isn't that crazy already, huh?
Right, but I mean, we still do have our firefighters doing things because we have pile burns and things like that have to happen in the winter time instead of in the summer or spring.
So these folks that sign up for the veteran firefighter program, I imagine they go through quite a gamut of training.
When they come on board, they sure do.
Yeah.
Because you still have to learn, about wildfire. You still have to know, how that's going to spread across the landscape, what the practices and protocols are of.
It's kind of a dangerous job. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would say it is.
Yeah, okay. I would imagine you'd probably be good to go. Let's take our first break a little bit early. It's a couple minutes early, and we'll come back and we're going to talk about Forest Service roads. Brady Smith and George Josens from the Coconino National Forest in studio today. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back to Countywide. Brady Smith and George Josens with the Coconino National Forest in studio today with us. We're going to talk about Forest Service roads. And I haven't heard any stories out of the Coconino National Forest, but Prescott National Forest and the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office over the last, well, I want to say the big storm of Christmas Eve. We'll call it the big storm of Christmas Eve. They shut down I-40 from Williams to Seligman. And a lot of folks, and we've actually done several stories about this now where people have been, there was the gal from Pennsylvania who was lost by the north rim of the Grand Canyon. Same sort of story where somebody goes on their GPS or looking for an alternate route. And the alternate route says, oh, take this road right here. This will get you there. And they take off on these roads, and then all of a sudden their two-wheel drive vehicle is bogged down in snow or mud or water or whatever. Vehicle's disabled, now they're stuck out there. And, we do the stories about make sure you have that winter kit, but I don't know how many people actually have a winter kit in their car, especially when they're from out of state, visiting, thinking I'm in sunny Arizona, and here they are in a snowstorm. So are we seeing a lot of that on the Coconino National Forest? Are you guys having to go rescue people out there, or is that an issue? Hunters getting stuck, anything like that? Or the road's doing all right?
I haven't heard of a lot of rescues.
Okay.
But we have had some people that have gotten stuck in Stoneman Lake this week, Stoneman Lake Road going across from I-17 to Forest Highway 3. There was a person that was stuck out there, and somebody that was passing by called them in and said, hey, get your law enforcement out to check on them. And I guess they were getting pulled out. But yeah, they'd gone around a barrier and or a closed road, and that's just a no-go. And in the forest here, our roads won't take that.
Now there's the key phrase right there. He just said it, around the barrier. We hear that about too during spring flooding and in the monsoon season. You put the barriers up and people go around these barriers and into these low water crossings, and next thing you know, you got Swiftwater Rescue out there pulling people out. So Coconino National Forest, tell me about your guys' road closures. They happen every year around this time.
They do. We have seasonal road closures, and then what happens is anytime there's and they come about different times each year. It's not a set date. It's really dependent upon the weather. And so when a big system will come in and it will saturate the roads or snow really heavy on the roads, that's when we start to implement our seasonal road closures, typically on the Flagstaff Ranger District and the Mogollon Rim Ranger District. The Red Rock Ranger District, a little bit here and there, but not as much as the others. And there are specific roads that are high-use roads that we swing gates on, that have gates, and then we lock those gates, and basically you can't go on those roads any longer. And it's one, to protect the person so that they don't get stuck back there and need somebody to come rescue them. And it's also, two, to protect the resources and the roads themselves, because we don't have a lot of money to constantly be grading roads and making them passenger car worthy. And so,
I've been on some pretty bad forest roads out there.
Yeah, and there are some.
And you know it's because somebody during the winter, spring months went out there. I mean, I've seen trucks coming through the neighborhood where they're just, I mean, there's nothing but,
Right.
And I understand why people want to go do that.
Yeah.
Do we actually have a place where somebody can go out and just go mudding?
Not mudding particularly. I mean, you can head out to the Cinder Hills OHV area.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably not going to find a lot of mud out there, but
We need one.
Yeah, we need to find a mud area.
We need a nice big spot where people go out in their trucks and just get dirty.
Yeah,
Sure. But it tears up the Forest Service roads, and then folks, are when they start to dry out, they got these huge ruts in them, and then monsoon hits, and then those ruts fill up again.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of price tag does come with repair of the roads each year? Do we have a guesstimate or an estimate?
Well, Paul, we've got 3,500 miles worth of roads in our forest.
Okay.
Just in the Coconino.
Okay.
So it takes about 15 to 20% of the engineer's budget just for normal maintenance on those roads. So that's not a lot of money.
What does normal maintenance include?
Basically blading them and grading them, and occasionally some gravel. Like the 70 miles that we share here in Yavapai County with County Public Works, we both grade it. There's gravel on those roads. They're high use. There are county residents living on it along with forest users. So not just here in Yavapai County, but all over the Coconino National Forest, we try to grade as many as we can, but the high-use roads get the most maintenance.
Is there ever a road that it's like, you know what, we're just never going to get ahead of this one. It just keeps getting torn up and torn up and torn up, and we're just not going to fix it anymore.
Schnubley Hill comes to mind.
Schnubley Hill?
Yeah, I mean, that's a road that degrades quickly, and it's very high use because we have a lot of the Jeep tours that come up there. I mean, honestly, they enjoy that because that's what they're built for and that's the experience that they're trying to provide. Excuse me. But that road is hard to maintain, and there are people that will call us and they'll complain because they can't take their passenger car down that road, which, no, you cannot take a passenger car down that road unless you want to lose your oil pan. So that's a road that is high use, but it also is very hard to maintain just because of the location and
The grade alone.
yeah. And
The way the water must rush down that one.
yeah, so that's a tough one, and there are a couple others that are high use, but we try to stay on top of those as much as possible, as much as we can. But you're always, I mean, you're in the forest and you're on forest roads, and it's not going to always be passenger car friendly.
Sure.
There's going to be places where you're going to need four-wheel drive.
You
high
are out in the
clearance.
woods.
You are out in the woods.
You are out in the woods.
Definitely in the woods.
So I guess the message we're getting across here is right now, don't go around the barriers because it's not only hazardous for you. I mean, who wants to be stuck anyways? It just ruins your day. You're stuck, and then we're waiting for the roads to dry out as well, so that it's going to be less on the taxpayers to have to go out there and have those roads repaired. So just wait till they open them up. And you guys, I mean, you don't wait forever to do it.
No.
I mean, you want the forest open as much as we do.
Sure.
Yeah. So just stay off them until they're dried out a little bit. Let's jump on to snow play areas, because I guess Highway 180 has been quite the snarly nightmare over the last few weekends with everybody
Every
coming
year.
up. I noticed on Monday that the amount of traffic was just unbelievable. People flowing into the Flagstaff area to go play in the snow. Sure. And I think a lot of people are unaware that Fort Tuthill, Coconino County Fairgrounds, is now a snow play area.
Yeah, it sure is. We went out there and checked out the parking lot the other day, and it was about half packed in the middle of last week.
Oh, really?
So we were kind of happy to see that. The Fort Tuthill's got their ticket booth up and going. You can pay a little bit of money and go in and enjoy the snow. And I understand they have inner tubes you can rent there as well. Not too expensive from my understanding, and a lot of fun. So take some of the pressure off 180, get off before you even get into Flagstaff.
Yeah, really, yeah. Okay, so on 180 though, 180 is the key. I mean, we've got tons of people out there. So what is kind of the recommendation for the folks going up 180 to the either the Arizona Snow Bowl or the snow play areas? Because there's a few snow play areas up there, right? I've not been to any of them.
There are. My recommendation is patience.
Right.
Because you're not going to, there's just no way to get around the traffic problem that it is. Because there are snow play areas. We have Crowley Pit, which is a popular place up past north of the Nordic Center. Prior to that, just south of there, we have Wing Mountain. And I know Wing Mountain was closed last week because they had a lot of snow melt, and so a lot of the bare ground had come back up. So there's a lot of areas along there, but the problem that DPS especially is facing is that people will park alongside the highway, which becomes pretty dangerous. And of course, Snow Bowl doesn't really have a sledding area per se, and so people are trying to find areas in which to play in the snow. And 180 itself is with 2 lanes. It just becomes really.
And then you throw cars
place.
parked on the side of the road.
Right.
You got people running around the side of the road and stuff like that.
It's a challenge every year.
Yeah, it gets to be kind of a nightmare. Were you the one telling me that you were watching DPS taking pictures of license plates of people just parked on the side of the road?
No,
Somebody was telling me that.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that there was a DPS officer just taking pictures of all the cars that were parked on the side of 180. And then go back to the office and just send out tickets like crazy.
Yeah. And I know some of our folks will take pictures just so for documentation to show what the challenges are.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's take our second break. Brady Smith and George Josen's in studio today from the Coconino National Forest. This is Countywide. Stick around. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. Now that's living healthy and green.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left of the program. One more snow play area we wanted to talk about that is not a snow play area and has not been for many years. George?
Right, that's the Cinch Hook area in the Mogollon Rim Ranger District. That is right there at the intersection of Highway 87 and 260.
Mm-hmm.
There's a active gravel pit, and people have loved to go there and play for the last decade. It's been closed with a forced closure order. So patrols are out there. County's been writing citations. The sheriff department's been out there. The Forest Service law enforcement. They're going to be out there patrolling again this weekend. Just not a safe place for people to play in the snow, so it's closed.
Okay, all righty. So there's that one. Everyone should be familiar with that one at 21687. C.C. Cragen Reservoir had some boat launch work going on and stuff like that. What's the latest on that?
Do. Because the weather was fairly mild in November and December, they still got to work on it quite a bit. They're getting the footings in, they're getting the concrete in, they're securing the embankment and making the boat launch better.
Okay.
So yeah, that project's coming along great. We're partnering with Arizona Game and Fish on that, and it's a good project.
Are we open by next spring with that boat launch?
From what we understand, I believe
Okay,
so.
all right. So just in time for spring. All righty. And then the other big project that I know we've been talking about over the last few months is Woody Mountain Road. The bridge there was being torn out and replaced. How's that coming along?
Well, the bridge is out. They actually have, because of the weather, have got to put in some concrete footings, and they're at a standstill right now waiting for warmer weather to come so they can finish the concrete work.
Okay, all righty.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be open,
pretty
what,
good.
next spring too, I would imagine? Spring, summer time
I imagine
frame.
it'll be about the same time the roads are open.
Okay.
In April.
All right. So everything's coming along quite nicely. And we've been getting some pretty good moisture. I mean, it's not the snowpack we normally would have on the Coconino National Forest, but it's been staying wet, so hopefully that's going to hold off the wildfire season, which could very well start here in the next month or two.
Well, I talked
Strangely
with the
enough.
Weather Service yesterday, and we're, depending on where you're at in the Coconino National Forest, you're between 110 and 140% precipitation. and
Oh,
rainfall.
okay, so we've caught up.
We've caught up, and we're a little over.
Oh, okay. That's really good news. Okay.
Christmas Eve and Christmas took care of us.
All right, that's very good. All right, that's really good to hear. All right, that's all we got time for. Brady, thanks for coming in. George, thanks for, it was nice putting you out here for the first time, so we'll have you back, I'm sure. All right, that's today's Countywide. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll talk to you again next time.